What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to our Week 15 Hit the Books NFL live stream. You heard our takes on the Thursday night and a couple of the Saturday games in our episode on Thursday. We're going to get into the Sunday slate now. We got 5 games for you, a couple of the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games, as well as Sunday Night Football, and then we're going to dive into our mortal locks of the week. We're going to start out here. We have our first game is Tampa Bay at Green Bay, the Battle of the Bays. Tampa Bay is a 3.5-point underdog in this game. Green Bay a minus 178 on the money line, plus 150 for Tampa Bay, and the over/unders at 42.5. Notable addition for this game for the Packers. Obviously, they're without A.J. Dillon, but they're looking to get number 33 back in the backfield with Aaron Jones. I was looking at a couple of Aaron Jones props. I like the Packers to win this game. That 3 and a hooker is kind of scaring me a little bit. I think they win the game. Could be a tighter one where the Bucks cover, Packers win. Packers really need this. I know the Bucks are really in a tight race for their division. I don't really have a play on this one. I was looking at the Aaron Jones props. I don't love either side. Ace, I'll kind of let you take over. Do you have a side on this one? I'm more leaning on the Packers just to win and the Bucks to cover. Like in a teaser, I would take the Bucks, but in a money line parlay, I'd take the Packers if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to our podcast on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day you happen to tune in, you know that I'm on the Bucks this week. I have been all year long. I think they're going to go on to win this division, exceeding my expectations, which were the highest out of all of us on the pod for that division. I don't think the Packers personally make a run for the playoffs. They're sitting in that 7th spot right now. I think they lose this game at home, then they fall out. I'm seeing the Bucks as high as plus 170-ish on the money line this week, so you might be seeing that on my card. I think that Mike Evans is able to get going. Rashad White looks great out there. That run defense is going to be able to shut down. I think that injured Jones and Dillon backfield. I think Jordan Love struggles as well. I think we start to see the Packers fade out of the playoff race with a loss here.
Yeah, I definitely could. I definitely could see that. That's why I'm not too confident in either side on this one. I think Tampa Bay definitely has more to play for with a home playoff game on the line. They need to win this game, but we'll get into another game, another divisional battle where the New York Jets will head down to Miami, where the Dolphins are an 8.5-point favorite, minus 420 on the money line, plus 330 for the Jets, and the over/unders at 36.5. I'm on the Dolphins here to I think they cover the number at home. I do have a 3-leg parlay where they are in that money line parlay. I took them just to win this game. I think the Dolphins could cover this number. It's been fluctuating. I saw it go down to 7.5. I saw it as high as 9.5 somewhere. So definitely just a weird line. I think the Dolphins can cover the number and get out to a quick start. That we've always been taking the Mostert, A-Chain, Tyreek Hill props. I think they all get in today. I think it's a big day for the Dolphins offense. I did just see it is pouring in Miami, so that could play into more the run game style for Miami. I think that does play into the Jets' favor with the tough defense, but I like Miami to come out on top. After a tough loss at home last week against the Titans on Monday Night Football, I think the Dolphins, they're looking at this as a must-win game, and they know Buffalo's in a good spot where obviously they're favored today against Dallas at home, a really good team. Buffalo wins that game and Miami loses this week. That division gets really interesting. I like the Dolphins to cover the number today at home.
Yeah, I personally think it's going to be a tough one for the Dolphins to cover. These two teams matched up before. We saw the Dolphins get some backdoor plays, really helped Huff in his first half bet last time. That crazy interception 6 with no time left on the clock at the end of the first half. I think we see a similar close game like we saw in the first half there. I think the Jets can keep it tight. I don't know if they end up covering because that number dropping really does scare me. The rain, like you said, Huff, big factor in this one. I think if they keep the ball on the ground with Breece Hall, and I think Zach Wilson, strong week last week. A banged up Tyreek Hill too. We saw Tua looked like Mac Jones without him last week. So it's gonna be a tough one. I think Mostert does get in the end zone once again. That can be automatic. Guy gets in every week. You'll probably see that on my card. But like I said, Dolphins win on the money line, but I think it's tough for them to cover this lofty spread this week in divisional matchup.
Yeah, 8.5 is always a weird spread too, because they could win by the touchdown. You get fucked by the half point. I mean, we've even seen 21-13. I'm not saying that's going to be the final score, but in a rainy game with a low over-under, I think they're thinking this could be a 21-13 game, and obviously Jets would cover by that half point there. So we'll get into another game, first interconference game of the day that we're going to talk about, where we have the Chicago Bears heading to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. Browns come into this game as a 2.5-point favorite, minus 142 on the money line. Bears are plus 120, and the over-unders at 37.5. The Bears have a lot to play for here. Obviously, I've heard people calling this kind of a huge game for the Bears. If they win this game, they're right back in the playoff mix. Obviously, you'd like the Packers to lose today. The Bears win this game, they're kind of taking over that second spot in that division. Obviously, we know what Minnesota's been doing. That was a tough loss yesterday to the Bengals in overtime.
Yep.
I think the Bears, if they win this game, they're right in that race. But I love the Browns' defense at home today. I think the Browns get the job done. The line's moving towards the Browns at the -2.5. It was 3.5 when we discussed this on Wednesday or Thursday when you listen to the pod. I like the Browns to cover the number here. I think Flacco keeps the good mojo going over there in Cleveland, keeps their playoff race going. I like the Browns today minus the 2.5 points.
Yeah, and you said it. Flacco doesn't even have to do too much to really keep the good times going. I see Transcolucci calling out the Browns as a mortal lock. I think they should too, but then again, the Bears just keep finding ways to win games. They're on a 2-game heater right now. Justin Fields playing decent football. DJ Moore, one of the best receivers in the league, and they have a plethora of running backs. And that defense is actually pretty good with the guys they signed. But I am with you guys. I'm on the Browns here. Give me the points too. I think they cover it. I think that defense is way too mean for Justin Fields to get going. They're going to be able to contain him in the pocket. He's going to be running for his life. And this is why the Browns team is where they are. I think they're the second best team in the AFC North. They're kind of proving that now, even though Jake Browning and his steroid test have jumped onto the scene. I like the Browns here. Don't really love any props in this one. Maybe the under here. I don't think there's many points from both sides. I think there's a big field goal day. I think Joe Flacco does enough game management to get them another win, get them another step closer to the playoffs, and maybe a divisional matchup or a first-round matchup where we see Joe Flacco take on his former team in the Baltimore Ravens. That'd be something, huh?
Yeah, that'd be a pretty sweet playoff matchup. I definitely think we're in agreement there. Browns get a big win today, a much needed, not really much needed, but you can kind of put the end of the playoff hopes for the Chicago Bears, at least if you win this one today in Cleveland. We'll get to our 4 o'clock game where Mackey is currently going to be at 4:30. Obviously, you see no Mackey today on the live stream, so he is up there supporting his Dallas Cowboys, heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills, where the Bills come in as a 2.5-point favorite, -126 on the money line, Cowboys +108, and the over-under at 49.5. I like the Bills at home here. This is a must-win game for the Bills. Ace, you said it before we got on. This is a good spot for the Cowboys to drop one. I think it will be a very high-scoring. Obviously, I don't know what the weather's like up there in Buffalo. I looked at it earlier this week. It wasn't supposed to be anything too crazy. I'm on the Bills here. I think they get the job done. Josh Allen has something to play for. I saw a lot of people say if he wins this game and continues to win and gets them back in a playoff push, he could be the MVP this year. Obviously, we've known the NFL has been trying to get him one for the past couple of years. He's always the preseason favorite or a top 2, top 3 candidate. I think the Bills come out with a big win here today at home.
Yeah, and like you said, Mackey's at this game. Mackey's going to be mad when the Dallas Cowboys go and lose this week. I called their win over the Eagles. Eagles playing some sorry football right now. Don't worry. They're going to bounce back and get to the NFC Championship. Luke, I see you're in this call, and you're an Eagles fan, so I got to give you some hope there. But these Buffalo Bills this week, they're going to get to the playoffs. And guess what? They're going to make a run in these playoffs when they get in. They're one of the best teams in the NFL skill-wise. I know they're banged up on the defensive side of the ball. But like you said, Josh Allen reinserting himself in that MVP race. I think if they get in, that's the team you don't want to see in the AFC. I think they get a much-needed win here at home this week. I think there's a lot of points. Mackey's like, if there's a lot of points, you know my Cowboys are winning. Well, I don't think so, Mackey. I think that Josh Allen puts up over 30 points. I think it's 31-28 Bills, maybe in overtime, but Dak Prescott interception incoming. I like the Bills here this week, backdooring their way into the playoffs, getting through a couple rounds. Maybe they get a matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. We all get to see that. We know we love Mahomes and Allen. Mahomes crying in their last matchup. So this feed the people. This is what we want. Maybe Stephon Diggs comes back to life. I know his brother's not there for him to torture, but I think this should be one of the best games of the day with the Buffalo Bills coming out on top.
I was thinking about this game before, and if the Cowboys manage to win this game, is Mackey officially the Cowboys' good luck charm? We go down to Dallas, they give you an ass kicking, and then if he goes up to Buffalo and gets a win as an underdog, he might have to go to the wild card game if they don't win the division, keep their good luck rolling with Mackey in attendance. But
this is
we're
such a
both on the
massive
Bills
game.
here.
Huff, this is such a massive game for them. They need to get that home field advantage.
Oh.
I think there's no shot in the playoffs for the Dallas Cowboys if they don't have home field advantage.
Yeah, I agree.
And we see right here, Chance Galucci's calling like Dallas. This is the chance to show what they're made of. I don't think so. I think they're coming off of a high. I think they show what they're made of by beating the Eagles. I think the last few weeks they've had other big games that they've handled their business. I think this is a trap game for their spot. They've been hyped up for all the past ones. Going into Buffalo, much different narrative. Give me the Bills here. I love this one. This is going to be the game of the week. A Beaks hype. This is his play of the week is the Buffalo Bills. So
I could even
be happy to see we're both on them.
One play I was looking at here was a Josh Allen anytime touchdown to rush one in plus 140. So I definitely like that. I don't know if
I
I'll
love
card
those
that, but
odds.
yeah, he's always running around near the goal line, so like to see him scamper one in and get big number 17 running towards the end zone. So that is going to be the only 4 o'clock game that we take a look at. Obviously, the other two are the Commanders, Rams, and Niners, Cardinals. But we are going to jump right into the Sunday night football game where we have the Baltimore Ravens heading to Jacksonville to take on a pretty kind of desperate, you could say, Jaguars team. A much
Mhm.
needed win here for the Jaguars at a 3.5 point home underdog, plus 164 on the money line, where the Ravens come in at minus 196, and the over-unders at 40 and a half. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, last week coming off an injury, we didn't know if he was going to play in Cleveland. He played. It was a pretty high-scoring game. They couldn't get the job done. This is a must-needed win for the Jaguars at home. I actually think the Ravens can afford to drop one. I know they don't want to. Obviously, want to secure up that 1 seed. I'm going to take the points with the home underdog here. I don't think they'll win the game. I'm gonna hope. I was even looking at teasing this in a couple scenarios, get it to 7.5, maybe even 10.5, just to keep it a 2 possession game. But I don't know. I don't love it. Don't know if I'm going to card it. I'm definitely leaning on taking the home underdog with the points in the prime time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna stick with my narrative. Huff, you're wearing purple. You got to be taking purple this week. I think the Ravens. You buy that half a point for the peace of mind because we know what Justin Tucker can do late in the game with that big field goal leg. But I'm going to take the Ravens here. I think they finished the season with the best record in the AFC, potentially the best record in the NFL. That's what I said at the halfway point. I'm sticking to my guns. Lamar Jackson looks great right now. Odell Beckham Jr. revival tour. Zay Flowers, one of the best rookie receivers in the league, and then Keaton Mitchell kind of came out on the scene out of nowhere. It reminds me of Devin Achane. Then you have Gus Edwards, obviously hammered in. Not going to be an easy one though. That Jaguars defense is something to be worried about. They're one of the top underrated defenses in the league, in my opinion. And then Trevor Lawrence, I thought he was out for a few weeks with that injury a couple weeks ago. Ended up playing last week. I know he didn't have his best game, but I think that he's able to have a good game once again. It's going to be competitive. I think both teams put up over 20 points, and it's going to be whoever can get above that 24-point threshold that's going to win this one. I think the Ravens take this one in the prime time. Roquan Smith leading that defense. They're playing lights out. If you got fantasy props today, I'd look at an Odell Beckham Jr. reception prop, maybe even a touchdown. You can find great odds there. Isaiah Likely too, Huff. You've seen him jump on a team, Coastal
Yep.
Carolina product, taking in that Mark Andrews role. I thought they were kind of dead in the water without him. I know it kind of hurts them in the playoffs down the road, but Likely stepping in and looking like he can do what he does best.
He's definitely. I even when Andrews was in there, I kind of liked whenever they'd use the Isaiah Likely as kind of like a second tight end option. I thought he's going to be a great option. Obviously, coming out of Coastal Carolina, not many people kind of. Forget when he got drafted. I don't know. I know Haas is in the chat. If he probably knows that right off the top of his
Yeah, he
head. If he
definitely
knows
does.
the round and pick exact where Isaiah Likely got drafted, but he's been a great option for them since he stepped in. Obviously, like you said, without Andrews, he's now the number one. You saw him have a big day against the Rams with that first touchdown for the long ball. Capable of making those big plays, but he's also a secure tight end where you can go to him for the 8 to 9 yard routes or just get that first down. So I definitely see how you think the Ravens could come out and cover the number. They're definitely the scariest team in the NFL right now to bet against. Last week I liked the Rams with the points. I didn't take it. They did cover, but lost in the overtime on the
Mhm.
punt return by the Ravens. So I lean the Jags. Don't know if I'm going to go with it, but yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a great Sunday night football matchup. You're going to see the Jacksonville fans, jumping in the pool. Might see RG3 jump in one. I know that's Thursday night football, but yeah, that was ridiculous whenever he did that. And then they lost as a 8 point
Yeah.
favorite to Cincinnati. That was brutal. But yeah, so I think I don't know if I'm going to go with the Jaguars on this game, but we got our mortal locks coming up, and we'll get right into that. Ace, you want to start us out with your mortal lock of the week?
Yeah, let me shout out Abik the Freak, Abik Patel right here. He gave me some good info and I looked into it and I was like, wow, I actually love that. So I read this on the podcast the other day, but Derrick Henry's last few games in his divisional matchups against the Houston Texans, who they play today, last 5 games here, 32 carries, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns, 22 carries, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 34 for 250 and 2, 32 for 219 and 2, and 23 for 126 and 1. So that goes to tell me my mortal lock of the week is Derrick Henry to get in the end zone. Best odds I saw that is plus 100. I'm going to have to check again because I haven't carded it or locked anything in yet. That's going to definitely be on my card. His yardage prop, you can take that too. Take his carries props. Go with the 3, the trifecta. That's a nice little parlay. I'm going to take the touchdown as my mortal lock, though. Derrick Henry have a big game. I think they keep it close this week. I think CJ Stroud's ruled out. Texans still going to get the win this week, in my opinion, and push for that playoff race. Hopefully Stroud can get back to it. But give me the Texans, Titans. Give me Derrick Henry as my mortal lock. Anytime touchdown this week.
Yeah, I absolutely like that. I already got that on my card, so I'm definitely riding with King Henry to get in there today. especially at home. You got to go with number 22 to get in the end zone. Like you said, all those stats against the Texans, divisional matchup, he just absolutely eats up that AFC South. I'm going to go with another running back to have a big day today and get in the end zone. Alvin Kamara, I got in last week. I've needed him a couple times this season. He hasn't paid off. I think this Giants defense is a little bit could stymie it near the goal line. Give me number 41, Alvin Kamara, to find the end zone today. I saw that at plus 100 as well, so you can go around and shop those odds wherever you want to place the bet at. But seems like we're going with King Henry and Alvin Kamara, two plays I already do have locked in on my card. So we will get into that. But Jesse, do you have a mortal lock or anything you want to throw in? No, don't let us.
He's
Don't let
riding
us.
with Mackey and the Cowboys up in Buffalo. Hey, take it. A Beak's gonna be pissed. Look, he's throwing Bills money line in the chat. He has his mortal lock in there before we even get to the segment.
All right, yeah. So, we will get into. Obviously, we do not have our hit the books parlay determined yet for this week. So stay tuned to the social media whenever we get our cards out. That'll be the first one that's posted. I know Jesse already has his leg determined. A couple of us are still deciding on some things. So make sure you stay in tune. We'll get the cards out by 11 a.m. Get everything all settled and get you ready for NFL Week 15 Sunday.
Wow, Cleveland mortal lock in the chat. Bills moneyline mortal lock. You guys love picking these close to the vest. King Henry in the end zone. Alvin Kamara in the end zone. Those guys love scoring. Make it easy on yourselves with your mortal lock of the week. But hey, you like to sweat. You're pulling the Mackey method. Cleveland,
What would
Dallas,
Mackey? I was going to
Buffalo.
say, what would Mackey
Mackey
be?
would have the Dallas
-4?
Cowboys just like Jesse. So I think Jesse's just doing it for the sake of Mackey here, sake of conversation. Chance Galucci loves the Browns. I know they got the Browns stuff up in their house. I think they get it done. They're going to get to the playoffs and lose in the first round, but they'll win today. A beak. The Bills got your back. The Miami Jets over. Terrible play, in my opinion. A lot of rain there. I don't know, Huff. Anything else you got for the people today before we hop
Yeah,
off?
I mean, I don't got anything else. Like I said, stay tuned for the plays. I got my 1 o'clock slate determined already, so I'll get mine posted a little. Probably by 10:30, I'll have me and Jesse and Mackie stuff going. And then Ace, whenever you get yours sent, we'll have everything rounded out by 11. Like I said, the parlay as well. Not much else going. Make sure you stay tuned tomorrow night for
Good
the
luck
Monday
in the
night
first round of
segment.
your playoffs.
Yeah,
All
I
of
was
our
gonna. Oh yeah, I
followers,
forgot
fantasy
about that.
playoffs, round one. Make sure you're winning your games, checking those late inactives. I think some of the shootout games, like the Bills and Cowboys, it's good to have people going in that one. I think the Sunday night football game should see a lot of offense. Be wary of that Chiefs game. You know how they play against the Patriots and cover the spreads. I do think they end up covering it, but your props might not be as good if you have a receiver out there. So definitely check in. Make sure you're ready to go. And we got you tonight, got you tomorrow. Always got you. Hit the books.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys this week for the Week 16 episode on Thursday. Thanks for listening.